Good morning, Riggs. Thank you so much for joining me. My first question right out the bat is, what's wrong with our water?
What's wrong with our water is it's centralized. The whole idea of sending all the waste from everyone to one place to treat has never worked, right?
Mhm.
When I was a kid, I'm really, really old. So when I was a kid, we had mainframes. In mainframes, there was always a queue. There was never enough capacity. And that's the problem with centralized systems. It does not serve people well. Now, the other problem is that all the different industries send their stuff to the city, which then mixes it all up and tries to treat it as one. And that
Oh, I
results
didn't know
in
that.
very poor treatment, right?
Mhm.
So what do you do about it? Well, how about having them treat their own waste? Is this such a crazy idea? And it's not. It's become the new thing. So decentralizing water treatment is the new thing.
Okay.
And it's really gathering momentum because the cities are very happy. They should be. I mean, why are they treating all that toxic waste, right?
Right.
So, and it's also good for the businesses. The businesses benefit in all kinds of ways I can get into. So that's the trend.
Okay.
And we're actually going a step beyond that by making it a service so that when, let's say, you're a brewery and you were being serviced or not serviced by the city,
Mhm.
transfer to a system from us, you're still on the meter, no big change. We put
Right.
a machine on your premise, we maintain it, you only pay by the gallon, by the usage, and you have no capital expense. Now, that is the future of water, which
Oh,
is
wow.
water as a service.
Okay. Interesting. Can I just ask a few more questions about, so if we're treating all of our sewage, like all of our poop, and we have our like laundry water going to the same place, and we've got our shower water going to the same place, what happens to the water we're putting in our mouths? Like, what does that do in the body? Yeah. Or what are we putting into our mouths?
This is why toilet to tap is such an unpopular topic,
Oh, we got to talk about it though.
right?
Yeah.
San Diego tried to do it, and it was like a big pushback.
Yeah.
Now, all water is recycled water. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
you know, it goes up to the mountain. You know, the diagrams, the water goes up to the mountains, comes down the streams, and then rainfall, and there's a circle.
Yeah. I live in the mountains, so I see it when it rains. It's all brown.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with recycling water, even to drink, but typically that
Okay.
doesn't happen. Typically, we're in America, we are using virgin water that comes from rainfall in the mountains, like
Okay.
the Colorado River watershed, things like that.
Okay.
So the real question is, what happens to the wastewater? Because
Yeah.
if it's poorly treated, it goes into the groundwater, and you get these forever chemicals circulating around. It's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
So better water treatment is absolutely essential.
Okay. Okay. And I know your company does that, and right, and we're going to talk about that.
So also, let me talk about the quality of the water.
Yeah.
So right now, let's say that you're a factory that creates, plastic toys. I don't know if there's any factory left in America, but let's say that you
But they're
are
in China.
right. And believe me, Chinese water is like, oh my God.
Okay.
But let's say that you're producing something that creates toxic waste, right? And
Okay.
you're sending it to the city, and then the city is supposedly treating it, but it turns out they're not really. And so now there's class action suits against not the city, against the original people, the people who created the pollution. The people who polluted are like, excuse me, I sent it to the city. What's the problem? Well, the city didn't treat it right. So that's forcing those polluters to do their own water treatment, which is going to improve the quality of the water overall.
Yeah.
Here's another huge factor for water quality. There are millions of septic tanks in America, 24 million plus.
Oh, wow. Like at a person's house, like 24 million in there, or at their RV or whatever.
Right, residential, right?
Okay.
And a percentage of them fail, up to 20%, 15, 20, 25% fail. When they fail, all the bacteria goes into the groundwater, and it's a source of bacterial and viral infection. Because that ends up in the water, right?
Yeah.
So you're contaminating the water. So state environmental agencies are now pushing people to upgrade. Well, what are they going to upgrade to? They eventually will have to upgrade to these tiny pod systems that do the water treatment and clean water. There's a very good example in Miami-Dade County where they have, because they had a lot of sprawl early on, they have 100,000 septic tanks within the county limits. And so now they want to get rid of all of them. And so they're going to run a sewage line to each home.
Oh, no.
That's so much don't worry, it's only about $8 billion. No problem.
Oh, my God. That's crazy.
and we'll tear up the streets for 20 years and so forth and so on. When actually all they got to do is do a rebate program for people to get their own water treatment system. Thank you very much. Right.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That is what will result in the water getting better, is self-water treatment. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you want to treat the problem at the source.
Right.
So eliminate the pollution, then you eliminate the bad water. That's the bottom line. I hope you're not going to ask me about fluoride.
I really do want to ask you about fluoride. I finally found some toothpaste without it.
Okay, now I have an opinion about toothpaste. Okay, first of all, the problem is drinking the fluoride.
Okay.
To me, it's not proven that brushing your teeth with fluoride is bad. That's just, and the reason I say that is, I've done poorly when I've brushed. This is a personal opinion.
Yeah.
Brushed my teeth with a fluoride-free toothpaste. I ended up with a big old cavity. So after a year, so fluoride is effective at preventing cavities, because generally when I brush my teeth, I don't drink stuff. I
I try not to get my kids to eat the toothpaste.
It shouldn't make it so tasty then.
I know.
I mean,
and then they tell me, like, my daughter is like, I accidentally swallowed some toothpaste. I'm like, you're thinking in my mind, you didn't accidentally swallow some toothpaste. She's 6.
That's cute. Yeah. So, but fluoridation of water, I think RFK Jr. is right to bring that up. There have been studies all along. It's not great to fluoridate your water, your municipal water. We don't technically have a position on it, but once the fluoride's in there, it's hard to take out. So now you're fluoridating your groundwater, right? You're fluoridating everything. So it's best to just keep it simple and just have clean water. That would be the best. Yeah, it's hard enough to get that. Just get the clean water.
Just get the clean water, and a filter will do that. A simple filter would do that. Okay.
Yes, fluoride. I believe that it depends which brand, but fluoride does come out with the right filter.
Okay. Well, like on my RO machine, we already had a filter. We didn't really like it, but we just had it there. And so then now it has that filter plus 4 other filters before it gets into my mouth. So I'm assuming it has everything out of it.
Well, also, do you have a filter on your shower head?
I don't. No. Or on the sink. We did that for like a week. It was like a little filter, and then it was like brown in a week, and the water wouldn't even come out because it was so full of junk.
Okay. Your whole home. Okay, so what I did was I didn't do RO in the entire house. That's ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the problem with RO is for every gallon that it comes out clean, 4 or 5 gallons is rejected.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's throwing it away, and it's got all the brine, it's concentrated nastiness. So you're wasting a lot of water. So you only do it if you're drinking water in the sink. Okay. For the whole home, we put in place an ultrafiltration system. Okay. Which gets you down to 0.02 microns.
I don't know what that means.
It's very small. But the reason I bring it up is that Roundup is smaller. Roundup, glyphosate. So, and probably fluoride is too. So there's particles that are too small for so the ultrafiltration is great.
Oh, it's okay. So you have this little, it won't let it pass, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly. So,
because your skin will absorb it. Like the skin will absorb the fluoride, the glyphosate. It's like anything you put on your skin goes into your body anyways.
That's so true. It's, when you take a shower, a tremendous amount is absorbed into your skin, as you know. Yeah. So if you were having trouble with your shower filter getting all brown because of the contaminant of the sediment in the water, that's a good reason to have an ultrafiltration system in the house that just makes everything not brown. Yeah. And then you can put a shower filter, because my doctor said you need to get a shower that will filter out the glyphosate.
Yeah, glyphosate does terrible things in the body and into your endocrine system.
And also, there's terrible problems with glioblastoma, which is brain cancer.
Oh, I didn't know. And that is related to glyphosate.
The doctors that, the farmers that work with that. I have one of our investors is a medical doctor, and in his practice, the doctors come in with brain cancers from the glyphosate. Now, you and I, it's not as much of a problem. I mean, these people are dealing with concentrated glyphosate, right?
Right. Oh, that's terrible.
That's interesting because, I guess you're on a carnivore diet.
Yeah, that's actually what my channel is all about.
Okay. So then
but I'm interested in so much in this topic also.
Well, so on the carnivore diet, the other day, what I found out was that plants have defense chemicals.
That's right. They do. And they make you feel really bad, especially if you have an autoimmune.
So why are we eat your vegetables, I'm like,
oh my God.
Kill me now.
Just try it for 30 days and see what you think. It's pretty awesome. Your body will thank you. No, but I do eat pickles and I love avocados. I don't eat that often, but yeah, no. But
Well,
water is
avocados are
important.
primarily fat and they're good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, yeah, this carnivore thing is pretty crazy. I'll just interject for a second. Like I did it to lose weight. But then in 3 days, all of these symptoms of an autoimmune condition that I have just like went dramatically away. I was no longer fatigued. I could wake up at 5 a.m. I do regularly now. I actually start working at 5 a.m. And then I started researching it more, and I talked to many people that in 30 days they were off their psych meds because they no longer felt depressed.
Oh my God.
It's like, and I'm helping my friend funded a documentary, and he's filming it. It's a group of us. It's crowdfunded, and it's all mainly about mental health and how people's lives are changing just by eating meat. So you wonder, you have the glyphosate, you've got the fluoride, you've got the plant chemicals, and what that does to a body's biochemistry is crazy.
Right.
And then your signals are all messed up, right? So water's important also. Don't drink the fluoride. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Well, you're right. We're being programmed all the time. It's kind of a drink the Kool-Aid situation. So,
Yeah.
to sort of summarize, yes, put in some defenses on your filtration.
Yeah.
And shower filter. We bought one called Pro One on Amazon, which
Okay.
it's one of many, but I'm sure
Okay.
that's what the doctor told me to get. And that
Okay.
it has a small enough filter to get the glyphosate, the fluoride out.
Oh, okay. Pro One on Amazon. And that, do you like hook that up to like where the water, how do you explain that? Where the water comes
No,
in?
it replaces the nozzle. So you just pull out the regular nozzle, screw in the new one, and built into the new nozzle is the filter.
Oh, okay. That's so simple. You can put it on your kitchen sink, on your shower. Okay.
Please.
So I want to know your take on, there's a lot of companies that have like water machines. So I kind of was curious what your take was, like to filter water. Like, yeah, we get the water from outside and then it comes in. Like I already live in the mountains. My water's probably okay, but I use reverse osmosis. It tastes totally different. And my machine was like $150 on Amazon. I love it. Then you have the Kangen machine, and that's very expensive. That's like $5,000 or $10,000 or something. And then you have hydrogenated water. Maybe that's a separate subject. Like, what is your take on all these water machines? Are they necessary? What's good? What's bad? Yeah.
In general, the tap water is not great quality. There's a site for people in America who want to know what their water's like.
Yeah.
You can go to the Environmental Working Group, ewg.org.
Okay.
/tapwater, and put in place their zip code, and they will find out the quality of their water, and their jaw is going to drop.
Okay.
Because here's the thing: the municipalities are compliant, but the standards are very, very loose. So you have a lot of, pollutants, contaminants. So you were right to have an RO. At the very least, have a Brita pitcher. Do something. Now, whether you want Kangen, hydrogenation, now you're going beyond that. You're going to health benefits. For example, my RO, my undersink RO has a alkaline alkalizer.
Oh, so interesting.
It has a little alkalizer. It doesn't cost me $7,000. So I get more alkaline water.
Yeah.
What is it, extra $100, whatever. So you can have the RO. You see, when you get RO water, it's completely has nothing. So then you got to remineralize it, doing stuff with corporate users, right?
Okay.
And for example, if we calculated that if you increased corporate water recycling from basically nothing to 15%, you would double the amount of fresh water available.
Oh, wow.
For everyone, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're recycling.
Yeah.
So you really want to think about the effect of the big factor, which is the corporate users.
Yeah. I think that's a factor across the boards with everything. Like the FDA, the big pharma, big. This is what I talk a lot about on my channel. Big pharma, big food. Like when it's so centralized, it can be a problem for people's health. Same with water, big water. I never realized there was big water.
There is big water. And here's what they do. There's very large corporations, Veolia, American Water Works, Evoqua. And what they do is they service the central municipal systems. It's kind of like that's how it's done. Yeah. The problem is that the central municipal systems are way underfunded.
Okay.
So they have no money. And so it's kind of like being starved. And so the new thing is to have self-reliance or self-responsibility
Mhm.
by business. That's what
Okay.
we do. It's called decentralized water. It's our mission.
So interesting. Decentralized water. We need to decentralize a lot of stuff.
Exactly. Oh, that's for sure. Most households are 3 days away from starvation or whatever.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
I
I
mean,
did not know that. That's crazy.
that we don't have enough water and enough food. Um,
Mhm.
don't they get the prepper ads? To get the
Oh, I've studied a lot about prepping, living up in the mountains. And I have a water tank. It collects rainwater so that because I live in the mountains and I live very rural, sometimes I don't have water. So we use the rainwater to I don't it's probably better. It's probably better than I don't know. I mean, it's probably contaminated when it evaporates and goes up into the sky.
Well, when it passes through the atmosphere, it takes on the particles in the atmosphere. Yes, so you do
Oh,
need to
okay.
you do need to filter it or whatever, but
Yeah.
it won't hurt you.
Okay.
But do you know that until a little while ago, LA did not allow you to harvest rainwater. It was illegal.
Oh, wow.
And it was illegal to have a well because the Department of Water and Power had a monopoly.
Oh, crazy.
Monopolies are not great. And so
Right.
what we are doing is really demonopolizing, if that's a word,
Yeah.
the water industry. And
Okay.
whenever you break up a monopoly, you get a tremendous explosion of creativity, of
Hmm.
market share. Look what happened after AT&T got broken up. We eventually got the internet. So
Yeah.
these monopolies tend to hold things still, very still, and
Hmm.
nothing's going to change.
Very rigid.
This is what when I came from the .com and I was accustomed to change. I got in the water industry and I went, "Ugh," everything
Yeah.
slowed down. How do I make this place change?
Yeah.
And we finally found the way, which was to get involved with the decentralization movement and to fund these machines, kind of like a real estate investment,
Hmm.
so that investors have a piece of a machine and they get a piece of the ongoing revenue from the pay per gallon. And this is very, very popular with investors because
Sure.
water is a very stable investment.
Yeah.
It's not like not like real estate or oil and gas.
Right.
It
People need to
flows,
drink water every day.
and water demand keeps increasing all the time.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
it is, right? So
Um, what would you, if we decentralize water with companies like your company, which I do want to know more about,
mhm.
what would that do to people's health? Do you have any idea what that would do to people's health if they were drinking healthier water?
You are so right because waterborne diseases alone kill a lot of children in the world, but that's mostly
Mhm.
in third world countries.
Yeah.
American water will not kill you right away; it'll kill you over time because of the contaminants in it.
Mm.
So, what we believe is that the basic mission of the municipals is to serve the residents
Yeah.
primarily. If we get the industries off the grid, now the municipals can serve the end users. And in Ireland, the water's free.
Oh, I didn't know that. How
That
do they pay for the cleaning of the water?
well, they have obviously they have taxation. It's called
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Europe,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it's not burdensome because it's not they're not as overloaded. It's a primarily a rural economy,
Yeah.
so they're not overloaded by industry. We are, so that's why 90%, right? 90% industry and agriculture, of which about half and half. So 45% of all water demand is by industrial users. So that's a big chunk.
Yeah.
If we can reduce that, the municipals will be able to serve the end users better. And
Okay.
why not? I mean,
Yeah.
let's serve the people.
Yeah. I think yeah, exactly. That's great. And unmonopolizing it makes that possible. I can see how that makes that possible because you care more about like the section that you're responsible for and the people that are there. So how does so let's back up. What's the mission of your company? How do we do it? You were talking about investors. What's that all about?
Well, I love to go skiing and I enjoy. Oh, you mean my company?
Yeah.
Oh, so OriginClear is a
Yeah.
public company,
Okay.
and we have created something called Water on Demand. OriginClear is in the business of creating companies.
Okay.
So we created Water on Demand, which has these cool little pod machines that are miniaturized wastewater systems that go into, they can go into like a brewery, for example, or a house and development. They're small, and they do all the work. And also, Water Demand has created this way for investors to invest in the water asset and get a return, just as if they're investing in real estate.
Oh, wow.
And so, Water Demand Capital. So we've been doing this, and people love it because, as I was saying earlier, it's a very stable market, and people are tired of the ups and downs, like being whacked by, there's no doubt the real estate market in LA is going to get whacked now because insurance is going to become prohibitive, and that just as it is here in Florida, and it really affects housing prices, right?
Yeah.
So, and interest rates, all that stuff. Well, water is simple, it's stable, it keeps flowing.
It does.
So, also we welcome not just accredited investors, which are the people who make $200,000 or more, but also everyone else, and that's crowdfunding. So you can invest as little as $1,000 and be part of this revolution. So just go to OriginClear.com, click on the Invest Now button, and you will hear all the groovy stuff about it. We're very excited about this. We're kind of the mouse that roared. And it's an opportunity to kind of be in on early. You and I have very few opportunities to be in early on something worthwhile, and this is that opportunity.
Yeah, that sounds so interesting because I know like Grant Cardone has his like real estate investment. Also, at one point it was like $1,000 to enter. I think it's a little bit more, but it gives an opportunity for people to invest in something big. And actually, right before this interview, my husband's like, ask him how to get into the water industry.
Doing stuff with corporate users, right?
Okay.
And for example, if we calculated that if you increased corporate water recycling from basically nothing to 15%, you would double the amount of fresh water available.
Oh, wow.
For everyone, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're recycling.
Yeah.
So you really want to think about the effect of the big factor, which is the corporate users.
Yeah. I think that's a factor across the boards with everything. Like the FDA, the big pharma, big. This is what I talk a lot about on my channel. Big pharma, big food. Like when it's so centralized, it can be a problem for people's health. Same with water, big water. I never realized there was big water.
There is big water, and here's what they do. There's very large corporations, Veolia, American Water Works, Evoqua, and what they do is they service the central municipal systems. It's kind of like that's how it's done.
Yeah.
The problem is that the central municipal systems are way underfunded.
Okay.
So they have no money. And so it's kind of like being starved. And so the new thing is to have self-reliance or self-responsibility by business. That's what we do. It's called decentralized water. It's our mission.
So interesting. Decentralized water. We need to decentralize a lot of stuff.
Exactly. Oh, that's for sure. Most households are 3 days away from starvation or whatever.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
I did not know that. That's crazy.
That we don't have enough water and enough food. Don't they get the prepper ads, to get the...
Oh, I've studied a lot about...
Well, how to get in the water industry is, it's a very good point because as we're decentralizing, now there's demand for people in small water companies locally to do water treatment. You don't have to try and get into a big company. You can just, start up or join we have, a pretty small company ourselves, division. We have 2 divisions, one in Texas, one in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
And, you need to know something about engineering unless you want to do accounting or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but the fact is that the municipal water industry is losing people to retirement, and that's a big problem. But the private sector is blossoming.
Okay. That's so interesting. I never knew that. When I talked to Rebecca, I totally thought we were going to be talking about like the health issues with water, but this is very interesting. I mean, there's a lot of health issues, and the point is to decentralize it and maybe supporting a company like yours or backing something like that up. You're going to get better water. Do you
Well,
think?
not only that, more of it, right?
Okay, more of it. Okay.
That's the big problem with, yes, I could talk about the health issues with water.
Yeah.
And as I was saying, American viewers can go to ewg.org/tap water, and they can see the contaminants in their water. And that's a really good reason to get, at the very least, a Brita filter, Brita pitcher, or whatever you can do is good. But mostly it's the supply of water.
Okay.
There's drought everywhere these days, even in the
Mhm.
Mississippi Valley. I mean, there's drought everywhere. And
That's crazy. And all these crazy fires in LA right now. It's because of lack of water?
Well, it's been pointed out that they have a huge ocean and they could be pumping water from the ocean to put out the fires, but it's a bit late now.
Yeah.
It's a bit
Okay.
late.
Yeah, they do have
we're not going to second guess that situation.
Okay.
But fires is why we left LA, because 2
Mm.
fires came really close to us. We're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
I'll take a hurricane over a fire anytime.
Would you like to talk more about your company and how else people can get involved, or what people need to do to decentralize this monopoly on water?
I hate talking about my company. It's terrible. Let's talk about skiing. No, I'm only saying this because last week I was skiing and I'm still, loving the feeling.
Oh, wow.
No, but what is really interesting is that these days it makes sense from an investor's point of view to invest in a water or any asset, any productive asset, right? An asset that generates income.
Yeah.
Theoretically, real estate, but who knows what's happening in real estate? But okay, real estate's always been a good investment over time, and gold is a good asset, but does it produce? No. So
Right.
you can invest in oil and gas, and have royalties from the oil wells, and that's nice. But a lot of people, so when they hear, oh, I could do something like oil and gas, but it's water. Like, oh, I like that, because people may think oil and gas is a good investment, but they don't necessarily like it.
Right.
It is what it is. We're currently a fossil economy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what's interesting. What's the alternative to fossil fuels?
Teslas.
Is nuclear. Nuclear is
nuclear.
right.
Yeah.
And sure enough, now everybody was resisting nuclear because the waste issues and so forth, until AI came along, and all of a sudden, forget the problems. We're doing nuclear again, right?
Yeah.
And so you have this blossoming of nuclear all of a sudden, driven by the insatiable demands of AI.
Oh, I didn't realize that, because I just thought it was Elon Musk.
No, well, he's involved with AI, of course.
Yeah.
But what is happening is, what is it? Amazon paid for 3 Mile Island to be restarted.
I don't know. What is 3 Mile Island? I should know these.
3 Mile Island was, you're so young. 3 Mile Island was a nuclear power plant that was decommissioned because it went critical. It failed.
Okay.
And so it was decommissioned.
Okay.
And at the time, there was a movie right about the same time called The China Syndrome, where theoretically the nuclear material would burn straight through to China.
Oh, wow.
It's not true.
Okay.
But,
I didn't know it'd split the planet in half and we'd have a bigger problem, right?
Right. So, so basically, there's been an anti-nuclear movement, and probably for the older generation of nuclear, like Fukushima and so forth, it's very true. This is bad stuff. But there's newer generations that are sealed, that are this, that are that, and they are, the thing about nuclear is it's the only fuel source that is has the BTUs, the actual energy sufficient to replace fossil. The problem with wind and even solar is you have to do so much of it to replace fossil.
I was hearing about not solar, but on the windmills, it does something terrible to the environment, like makes the whales very sick also.
But it also, putting aside the ecological issues, which there are issues with that.
Yeah.
It's also the maintenance and it's not carbon
friendly.
Negative. It's carbon positive. It adds.
Okay.
There's more carbon involved in the windmills than you get out of them.
Yeah.
So nuclear is, the reason I bring this up in the context of water is it's caused an explosion in our business, because all of a sudden all these power plants are ramping up, and a major part of our business is helping power plants with their water.
Mm.
So, but this is another reason why the central infrastructure is becoming so outdated, so obsolete, because
Okay.
they can't handle the extra load. It's like,
Right.
they don't know what to do. And so and what happens is Amazon will set up a giant, power plant, and the city will go, okay, take all our water because we
Mhm.
love you, Amazon. Oh, what about
Yeah.
the people? So it tends to create inequalities. The best way to deal with it is to properly not make the cities serve industry. And this is becoming really, really obvious with this, the energy requirements of AI
Hmm.
and high tech in general. I mean, we're using computers that are on all day and all night, and
Hmm.
hundreds of power plants worth of energy is used just with that. It's
Yeah.
enormous.
It's enormous.
So again, we can't disregard the water problem, and that is why, first of all, what we're doing is so important, but also why it's a good investment. I'm touting it.
Yeah.
So it's a good investment because it's not just stock; it's
Right.
also the royalties, and
Oh,
so yeah, because you get royalties from. Remember how the money gets invested to buy machines that go on
yeah.
site, and the investors continue to own the machines.
Okay. Okay. Does your company make the machines?
Yes.
Okay. So people invest in your company. You make these machines. You sell them to the municipalities
No, no,
or
no,
you sell them to the water filtration companies.
no.
Oh,
These are complete systems
okay.
that we then put at remote locations where the business is. So a brewery gets one of our systems that does all the wastewater treatment
Mm,
wastewater treatment,
okay.
and but here's the twist. That brewery doesn't have to buy that system because breweries are not set up to invest in water treatment systems. They're there to make beer.
Right.
So do they have a spare $1 million? No, they don't,
Yeah. So who
right?
pays for that? How does that work?
Investors.
Oh, okay. Your investors, the people who invest
Exactly.
in your company. Okay.
So the investors it's like investing in real estate. Imagine that they're building a little house, but it's actually
Yeah.
a treatment system. And
Okay.
so the client is paying for the use of that machine.
There's the royalties aspect, right?
And that generates, and here's the thing, the water industry operates on very, very, very thin margins. Typically, a water company will make about 16% net profit, which
Okay.
is nothing since
Right.
real inflation runs about 8%. So you're not making any money at all.
Hmm.
But if you'd say, no, 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 don't buy my machine, just use it in return for service fees, monthly fees,
Okay.
I can make 15 times that same amount over a period of 20 years
Yeah.
without having to make more machine. It just keeps working, right?
Oh, wow. It's a
And
pretty
that's
incredible machine.
well,
Sorry.
we build very durable machines. It's part of what we do is we have a division called modular water systems, and they build systems that can last up to 100 years. So we put them in place, and
Yeah.
then they just keep making money, and you just got to change the filters and so forth occasionally. So and so for the brewery or whoever it is, for them it's hands off. That's that thing in the corner, and they don't care. Occasionally somebody shows up, change a filter or whatever, but
Yeah.
they get the clean water and they pay by the gallon, which they're accustomed to. They're already on a meter with the city, right? So
Right.
we're basically taking the same model and transferred it to the corporate, and
Okay.
we've privatized wastewater treatment.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
I want to make something very, very clear because people
Yeah.
often misunderstand. We do not want to privatize fresh water.
Okay.
The cities should continue to supply the fresh water. Why? Because it's been tried, and every time they've privatized fresh water, stupid corporation that had the job just cut corners, and the water ended up crappy. In the
Mm.
UK, they privatized all the reservoirs, and then the reservoirs ran dry. They're like, what?
Oh,
I don't know. It's weird. So privatizing certain things, I include,
yeah.
like prisons, but also fresh water, things that are really, really critical that you don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
You leave in the hands of the government. But
Okay.
wastewater treatment should be done by the users.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So you have a company that makes plastic water bottles. They need to handle their own water waste. For instance, I'm just thinking what company does like big plastic.
Yeah, big plastic. Well, there's not a lot of big plastic anymore. But here's the thing: there is still a lot of an industry in America. Even if it's like assembly or, for example, industrial car washes. Right. I
Yeah.
was visiting our division in Sherman, Texas, and the general manager there showed me a system that came out of a truck wash. Right.
Yeah.
Those are big, much bigger than obviously much bigger than car washes. They're very industrial grade, and this was brought in to be serviced and sent back out again.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pollution being created. We did not export all the pollution to China. There's still some left here. So whoever makes water dirty, and even if it's brewery waste is not a very nasty waste. It's the effluent is organic generally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but it's a lot of it.
Yeah.
And so cities have been known to say, no, just they took, like there was a brewery in the East Bay of San Francisco. They were told, no, we can't take your waste anymore. And now that brewery had to truck its waste to another county.
Oh, that's crazy.
So they just installed their own system and the problem went away.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow. Well, that's a very cool industry. And I liked all of the insights about what's wrong with our water, how we can fix it, but also how we can, as a planet, support better water.
Yeah. And when we finally get to doing something about India and so forth, are they going to get $1 trillion water system? No, it's going to be done, with self-responsibility. That the mission, and the same. Eventually, everyone's going to go to the decentralized model.
Yeah.
Just like we'll never get a high-speed train in California, but we'll have the self-driving car, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's easier to do. We already have the freeways. So
right. Yeah, exactly. So I want to be considerate of your time because I know we agreed to 45 minutes, but do you have anything else you'd like to say before we end off here?
Well, first of all, wonderful questions. Thank you, Ali. And your listeners should know that as consumers, they need to watch out for the quality of their tap water, and we've discussed that.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, be aware of the decentralization movement, and if they're interested in investing, either as small investors or larger, then they can go to OriginClear.com and click on Invest Now, and they'll find out about how they can benefit from a productive asset that is going to be around for, I think, ever.
I'm literally going there right after this.
I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Riggs, thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll talk again.